You set an alarm last night.
Did you know?
You probably hit snooze. Then you stumbled into a kitchen, made something hot to drink, checked your phone, and started mentally building your to-do list before you even finished swallowing. That is your day. That is modern life, and it feels completely normal to you. But here is the thing. For 99% of human history, none of that existed. Not the alarm, not the kitchen, not the list, not even the concept of a schedule. And if you could somehow drop your ancient ancestor into your Tuesday morning, they would not recognize a single second of it. So what did they actually do all day? The answer is not what you have been picturing. It is stranger. It is slower. And in some ways, it is going to make you deeply uncomfortable about your own life. Anthropologist Marshall Salins spent years studying hunter-gatherer societies still living in traditional ways in the 1960s. What he found shattered every assumption researchers had going in. He called it the original affluent society, not because these people were rich in the way you understand rich, but because they had something almost no modern human has. They had time. Enormous, unstructured, unhurried time. The average adult in these societies worked between 3 and 5 hours per day to meet all their survival needs. Food, shelter, tools, everything. 3 to 5 hours. Then they stopped. Let that sit for a second. Your ancient ancestor was not grinding. They were not hustling. They were not optimizing their morning routine. They finished what needed to be done, and then they did something that your calendar probably does not have a slot for. They rested. They talked. They sat. But let us back up, because the day did not start with rest. It started before sunrise. Your ancestor woke naturally. No alarm. Their body followed the light. Specifically, it followed a biological rhythm that researchers now call the circadian clock, a deeply ancient internal system tied to the rotation of the Earth itself. Neuroscientist Russell Foster at Oxford has spent decades studying this system, and what he found is that the human body was designed to wake gently as light increased, not to be jolted out of deep sleep by a sound. The moment your eyes sensed that first gray light creeping into the sky, your brain began suppressing melatonin. Your body temperature started rising. Your cortisol levels climbed in a slow, natural wave. By the time the sun was fully up, you were already awake. Not groggy, not reaching for stimulants, just awake. The first task of the morning was fire. If the group had let the fire die overnight, someone got it going again. Not because there was a schedule that said fire at 6 a.m., but because fire meant warmth, and warmth meant comfort. And the social group naturally organized itself around that warmth. People gathered, children woke up. The oldest members of the group began to stir. Then came the question every morning brought. What does today require? This was not a question asked on a calendar. It was read from the world itself. What was the season? What had been eaten yesterday? How far was the nearest water source right now? Was there smoke on the horizon that suggested other groups nearby? Were the animals moving in the patterns that predicted where they would be by midday? Your ancestor was reading the world the way you read your phone, constantly, automatically, pulling information from the environment and updating their internal map of what to do next. Depending on the season and the region, the morning often belonged to the women of the group. Anthropologist Elizabeth Marshall Thomas spent years living among the Juhwansi people of the Kalahari in the 1950s, and what she documented overturned decades of assumptions.